Today in Cleveland, Ohio, the president took up the fight for a second term in a way he has never done before. He said the election was most definitely going to be about the economy, and he challenged anyone who wanted to return to the failed policies of the past to vote for candidate Mitt Romney. The president portrayed the election as a chance to break a stalemate.
What's holding us back is a stalemate in Washington between two fundamentally different views of which direction America should take. Your vote will finally determine the path that we take as a nation. Not just tomorrow, but for years to come.
He didn't dispute the economy is still in need of deep help, but he advanced the argument further.
The debate in this election is not about whether we need to grow faster, or whether we need to create more jobs, or whether we need to pay down our debt. The debate in this election is about how we grow faster, and how we create more jobs, and how we pay down our debt.
The Romney campaign anticipated the launch of the president's new speech. So the Romney campaign bus circled and honked at the location of the president's speech, according to CBS News. You know, the kind of childish act you might expect of a high school bully. And in Cincinnati, Ohio, Romney delivered his own speech just prior to the president.
He's been president for 3.5 years, and talk is cheap. Action speaks very loud. And if you want to see the results of his economic policies, look around Ohio, look around the country, and you'll see that a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people have had some real tough times. And the policies the president put in place did not make America create more jobs.
Of course, Governor Romney's claim about jobs is demonstrably false. There's been 27 consecutive months of private sector job growth. And while Romney may have anticipated President Obama's speech, the president anticipated Romney's speech as well. President Obama said the Republican plan was simple: more tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans and a lot less regulations.
Just what Bill Clinton has called the same ideas they've tried before, except on steroids. If you agree with the approach I just described, if you want to give the policies of the last decade another try, then you should vote for Mr. Romney. You should vote for his allies in Congress. You should take them at their word, and they will take America down this path. And Mr. Romney is qualified to deliver on that plan.
Governor Romney tried to emphasize his love of job creators.
I want to make it once again, America, once again, the most attractive place in the world for job creators. And it's not just because I love job creators, it's because I love jobs. I want more good jobs for the American people, and I want such competition for good workers that salaries and wages go up so people make more money. I want to help the middle class of America.
President Obama said top-down economics had failed and said the middle class was the true engine of economic growth.
I've got a different vision for America. I believe that you can't bring down the debt without a strong and growing economy. And I believe you can't have a strong and growing economy without a strong and growing middle class. This has to be our North Star.
Romney trotted out a favorite of the Republicans, a vow to build the Keystone Pipeline.
I can guarantee you, if I'm president on day one, we're going to get the approval from that pipeline from Canada, and if I have to build it myself to get it here, I'll get that oil into America.
Oh, my goodness. Governor Romney also trotted out a long list of distortions. He said the stimulus didn't work, that Obama regulations had hurt both the coal industry and the natural gas industry, and that Obamacare was hurting job growth. But the president expected those distortions and answered them all. He also offered a prediction about what his opponents will try to do.
The other side will spend over $1 billion on ads that tell you the economy is bad, that it's all my fault, that I can't fix it because I think government is always the answer, or because I didn't make a lot of money in the private sector and don't understand it, or because I'm in over my head, or because I think everything and everybody is doing just fine. That's what the scary voice in the ads will say.
That's what the scary boys are saying. If the election is truly a stark choice between two competing visions of how to take America forward, the president still appears to have the American public on his side. 3.5 years into the Obama presidency, 68% of Americans say former President Bush deserves a great deal or a moderate amount of blame for the economy. 52% say the President Obama deserves that discredit. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question: whose economic vision is better for America? Text A for President Obama, text B for Mitt Romney to 622-639. Or go to our blog at .edmsnbc.com. I'll bring you the results later in the show. Joining me now is Sam Stein, political reporter for the Huffington Post. Brother Stein, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Now, this was billed as the president's new framing speech. Did he move into new territory today and advance the argument in favor of his reelection?
Substantively, I don't think he did. Obviously, he has a list of things he wants to do to create jobs. He's stuck by that list. It's been roughly the same thing since September. But the goal of the speech really wasn't to break new ground on a substantive level. It was to try to get him and Mr. Romney, or Governor Romney, on the same ground politically. And by that I mean there's an argument about what the country needs to do going forward. Romney wants to bring it back to the past. He wants to focus on the past 2.5 years, 3 years of the presidency. The Obama campaign doesn't want to have that conversation. They want to talk about what the choice is for voters in terms of platforms going forward. And I think that was the design of the speech. It was to address the progress made to this point, and then to ask the question, well, what do we do now? And I think in that respect, the speech was relatively successful.
Well, let's pick up on your word choice.
Sure.
President Obama emphasized this is a choice, not a referendum, and he asked for a mandate to break the stalemate. Let's listen.
Not by telling everybody to fend for themselves, but by coming together as one American family, all of us pitching in, all of us pulling our own weight. This November, you can provide a mandate for the change we need right now.
Now, some were upset with that, but that seems to me a successful rhetorical and political device, at least potentially. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in concept it actually is, but in practice, I have to be skeptical. Obviously, at one point in time in his presidency, Obama did have 60 senators in the Senate, 60 Democratic senators, and the majority in the House of Representatives. If ever there was a mandate, that was the mandate. And for it, the country got a lot of accomplishments. Whether you want to judge them as good or bad is up to you. The notion that if he wins re-election, suddenly Republican opposition will fall by the wayside is sort of naive, I think, because Republicans have been against this president since the night of his inauguration. So the mandate actually isn't going to be there. Whether it changes Obama's governing style, however, is a whole other question.
So how would you rate Governor Romney's approach? Does a weak economy give him a built-in advantage, you think?
Yeah, I think there's only one premise on which Governor Romney is running for office, and that is it hasn't worked. And to the extent the economy suffers, I think he benefits politically. Now, I'm not saying he's rooting for the economy to suffer, but it does help him out electorally. If the economy were to start doing better in the next couple months, I think you would see a reflection of that in improving poll numbers for Obama. But that's the nature of this election. It's 3 years out of a recession. Do you trust the path we're on, and do you trust the president who's overseeing it? And the president has a tough path to ride when it's a bad economy, and Romney has an easier one to ride. What happens in the next few months is anyone's guess.
Well, let's turn to a person who recently withstood a challenge to his own electoral privilege. Even Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin says Romney needs to sharpen his message. Yeah. Quote, I think he's got to have a simple message of not only why we need to replace the current occupant in the White House, but also why we would be better. Has Romney even begun to explain why more tax breaks and less regulation is a real economic plan?
Is that a rhetorical question? No, he hasn't. And that's the big problem, is that there's so many gaps in the platform that people are dying to fill in. And listen, I talk to some people in the Obama world all the time about this. And part of the process here is to eliminate the question about resumes. They don't want to talk about resumes. They want to get onto the specifics of the policy. And so, going after Bain was perhaps a strategic misstep, but they want to say, okay, this is Bain, this is what he did in the past, this is what he did as governor. Now, what is he going to do going forward? And that's when they feel like they're on a better playing field, when they can say, here's my prescription for the country's problems, here's Governor Romney's prescriptions for the country's problems. Which one do you prefer? That's a battle they think they can win. They don't think they can win this battle if it's strictly a referendum or if it's a contest of resumes.
All right, S squared. Sam Stein, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Remember to answer tonight's question there at the bottom of the screen and share your thoughts on Twitter at Ed Show. We want to know what you think. The Romney campaign is holding up Ohio Governor John Kasich as a poster boy for Republican economic success. But who really gets the credit for Ohio's declining unemployment rate? I'll tell you next. Stay tuned.